Hi everyone, so this is gonna be a little bit of a different video than my usual ones. I asked everyone in my community tab if this is something you wanted me to do, to see a video on this topic, and the overwhelming response was yes. So here we are. So I'm basically just gonna jump into it. There'll be timestamps if you wanna check out specific parts, as I'm not really sure how long this is gonna be. Just to make everything really clear, this is all coming from me. This is my own personal opinions. These are my thoughts, so on. And unless stated otherwise, these are just, what I wanted to talk about and start a conversation. I was thinking about whether I should even touch on this in the video, because it is a touchy subject both for me and a lot of other people, but I felt like I had to since I started thinking about this topic of K-pop stans and how other people view them because of this video. So I'm going to start with this topic just to get it out of the way. I'm not going to go into super detailed descriptions. I won't be showing any clips or photos. So if you want to skip this altogether, you can. I'll put the timestamp on the screen right now. And you can skip over it as I talk about the diss track. And then I pretty much won't mention it again. Here's also a small trigger warning. As I will be cursing a little bit, I will be getting a little angry, and I do mention suicide, mental health, and such in this part particularly. As I said, I'm not going to be showing anything, but for those who don't know, there's a diss track that was uploaded onto YouTube recently about K-pop stans. In the video, they would mock K-pop stans, the industry, which I don't really care about. They would make some really racially insensitive jokes like, the joke that they can't tell apart who's Jungkook and Jimin, whatever. I'm not saying that's not an issue, but that's not the issue I'm going to be talking about. I wasn't personally offended by this track for the most part. I'm not personally offended when someone mocks K-pop stans, and I also agree with some of the things that are said in the diss track that there's a lot wrong with the industry. I mean, my whole channel is basically based about that topic anyway, where I and a lot of people had a huge issue with the diss track, where it was when they started talking about when idols take their own lives, and they start showing photos of Junghyun and his fans, as well as his band members from his own funeral. Now, if I have to explain why this is out of line and disrespectful, I don't know what I can tell you. I don't think this is the right channel for you. So, with the context of the lyrics of the diss track, they're in a way blaming not only the K-pop industry, but the fans for Junghyun's passing. The person who made the lyrics apparently said later on Twitter that apparently people on Twitter were saying that Junghyun had taken his own life because of the industry. Of course, we don't know Junghyun personally and what he was going through, but he was very vocal about his love for his group and his fans, and he was also vocal about the fact that he had mental health issues. I think it's a huge statement to say that he left this world because of the industry or stans, and it's kind of just fucking stupid because everything points to the other thing without getting into details. Like, neither me nor his fans or anyone random or this random dude on the internet knows the real complete reason why. So saying this is just ridiculous, because someone that is gonna watch this track and not know anything about K-pop might think that, oh, this dude took his own life because he hated the industry, which is just not true. The dude who posted the diss track did blur the faces by the time I'm making this video, but the damage was already done, and anyone who knows anything about K-pop can look at this photo and put two and two together, basically. One of the men who sung on the diss track, Keemstar, got a lot of heat for this, and of course he just started being a fucking ass on Twitter, which I'm not really gonna get into. He just said some really racist things, and was doing racially insensitive jokes while this whole thing was going on, and he pointed the finger onto Void, was the other man who apparently wrote most of the lyrics for the video, or the diss track. Keemstar said he had no clue that Junghyun had passed away and that he had nothing to do with the other dude's parts in the video. But to be frank, I don't really give a damn. I don't really give a fuck, honestly. If you're working with another person, wouldn't you want to make sure that they're putting out something that matches your values? I would personally. Maybe that's just me, but wouldn't you want to make sure that someone isn't saying something completely against your own values? So either Keemstar is lying or he really didn't care. I'm leaning towards the latter because, fun fact, this is not the first time he has mocked someone for taking their own life. He mocked a Twitch streamer, I believe, for having mental issues, and then at the end, that Twitch streamer did end up taking his own life, and he continuously mocked him throughout his life and after his passing. He also mocked people who needed tone indicators, and he also mocked people with Tourette's. So I'm just gonna take a huge wild guess and just say that he does not give a shit to begin with. I have no issue with diss tracks or other media like that, but there's a line that I think people shouldn't cross when it comes to mocking, judging, or attacking something. The insensitivity that one person has to have to not see how horrible it is to bring up someone's suicide while attacking fan culture. It's absolutely insane to me that someone wrote that and did not realize that maybe they shouldn't post that. And on top of that, I'm not going to take someone seriously that needs to stoop that low just to get his point across. People will call K-pop stans insane because apparently they attack anything and everything that goes on Twitter. But it's okay for you to mock a person that took their own life. So why is it okay for you to mock someone with mental health issues and that they couldn't take it anymore? But a random person online that you can basically just block is a horrible person just because they said something mean to you on Twitter. Your diss track is basically doing what you're criticizing these K-pop stans for doing. You can criticize someone to hell and back without needing to stoop this low. That's just my opinion. I'm just gonna move on from this topic because I'm getting really pissed off. So when looking at K-pop, one of the part is the groups, the company, the music and such. But these idols wouldn't have a place without the fans, plain and simple. So fans are a huge part of K-pop, and there's no way around that. But for whatever reason, fans have gotten the stamps of being crazy, insane, disrespectful, and that they will do basically anything to protect their faves, even if they're the one in the wrong. And while there are a lot of people like that, of course, why does the majority of the K-pop fandom have to suffer because of a loud minority? Are we all shitty people because we like K-pop? Why do people love to hate on K-pop and their fans? Before I even start, I personally don't like the word stan. Not for any specific reason. I just don't like calling myself that or even using it. Have I used it? I have. Will I use it again? Probably. But when someone asks me if I stan a group, I usually just say, well, I'm a fan. I don't like the word stan. Maybe that's just me, but I just don't like the word. Maybe it's because K-pop stans have gotten a horrible rep, so I don't like to group myself in with them, which is kind of dumb because I'm basically saying not all stans are bad, but I just think the word is dumb, in my opinion. Like, I think fan is fine. Twitter is a huge part of where the problem lies. Well, yes, there are a lot of mean people all over social media. I've seen the worst things being said on Twitter. I've never, from what I know, gotten attacked on Instagram, for example, or other social media because of my channel. But on Twitter, there are so many people that have literally threatened me for no reason, saying that they're gonna find me and alluding to actually killing me. Like, I don't know these people, but for some reason on Twitter, they think it's okay to say stuff like that. It's a huge issue in K-pop in general, not just with YouTube K-pop. So this whole attacking people is a reason why people get attacked for liking K-pop. I've heard so many times, oh, you like K-pop? Are you one of those crazy people on Twitter? My boyfriend, who hasn't used Twitter in ages, knows that some of these fans will post fan cams under anything just because it's funny. Are we all like this? Short answer, no, of course not. But with such a huge genre like K-pop, there are gonna be so many fans. BTS alone has 33 million followers on Twitter. There's bound to be bad apples in the mix. This isn't just a K-pop problem, but since the K-pop fandom on Twitter especially is so big, of course we're gonna be very loud. But it's not just K-pop. Fans of bands, YouTubers, sports and so on will all have bad apples. For example, when Zayn left One Direction, most people were just sad and upset, but there was also a loud minority of people that attacked him, called him names, a traitor, and so on. Does that mean the whole One Direction community hated Zayn? Of course not. I think that K-pop stans in this specific case, are using the fact that they're faceless online to say things they would never say to someone's face. People have been doing it since the start of the internet. A person will have more confidence because their name is not posted on their page or they don't have a photo of their face. Now, do I think that people have the right to speak their minds? Of course. But there's a line where the opinions and thoughts turn into slander, horrible words, and unwarranted attacks. For example, I don't really like when people post fan cams, but I'm not going to sit here and say that everyone that posts fan cams are horrible people. One is an opinion, one is me just attacking someone that I don't know. There's a difference. As a K-pop fan, there's also a lot of pressure from other fans, not all of them of course, to keep up with all the comebacks, know all the songs, all the groups, all the idols, to collect everything and stand the right people. I don't know why there's such a huge pressure on everyone to know everything, stan everyone, and so on. Like, what is wrong with just liking one or two groups? Are you maybe missing out? Sure, but that doesn't mean you deserve to be attacked just because you don't know 30 different groups. I had that mentality that I needed to stay on top of everything, to not miss anything, to collect everything and stan everyone. It ended up shooting me in the back mentally. At the end of 2020, I said fuck it. I put all my photo cards up for sale and I decided to stop worrying about photo cards. And oh my god, I have not felt this relieved in so long. Was I sad to see a year's worth of collecting photo cards go? Yes. But the feeling of the relief outweighed the sadness by a million. I was so stressed about the fact that I didn't have funds to buy 17's new albums that I couldn't collect my buys of stuff and the newest photo cards. The pressure of needing all that, needing more to be the best and somehow prove that I was an actual fan, was taking the joy out of liking K-pop. I do want to keep supporting groups by buying their albums, but I refuse to fall back into the hole of needing everything. So once I want to start collecting again, I will. When I'm ready, and I believe that I don't have to prove myself as a fan, either by buying this stuff or collecting that or trading with this or posting on Twitter. The pressure is also on Twitter. You have to tweet about your favorites all the time or you're a fake fan. I've used Twitter since 2012, but I don't think I've tweeted as much since I started using it for K-pop, which in return made me hate the platform. It was such a toxic minority that would ruin the experience for me on Twitter, so I left for a while. I'm back, but I will still see some of that toxicity, and I'll just get into how I deal with that a little later in this video. It's like a lot of people that look at us think we're all the same annoying teenage girl K-pop stan that loves BTS and hate everything else. I don't know about you, but I am so much more than that. I love a lot of K-pop groups. I love a lot of K-pop solo artists and K-pop bands. But my passion is not just K-pop. I love other music. I love art. I love horror movies. I love animals. I love YouTube. And so much more. I'm not even a teen. Haven't been in years. But somehow, just because I like K-pop, people assume that I'm a teen. And that my only passions is K-pop. And they also think that just because my Twitter is K-pop themed, all I do is talk about my BTS biases all day. It's a stereotype that is hard to shake, both outside the K-pop community and inside it. Like every time someone asks me about BTS, assuming that I stan them and that they are my favorite, I get so uncomfortable. Because people will assume that I love BTS more than anyone else. Don't get me wrong, I love BTS. I have 2 tattoos related to them, but they aren't even 1% of why I like K-pop. So this idea that all K-pop fans and stans are all the same, teenage girls on Twitter posting fan cams, is just dumb. It's so much bigger. I know kids, teens, adults, gay, bi, trans, non-binary people, and so on that all enjoy K-pop. So that stereotype that we're all just teenage girls is just plain stupid. On top of that, that means people from the outside might not want to look into K-pop because they think that these stereotypes are true. This also touches on what I do on YouTube. I talk about K-pop, its issues and such. I've gotten a few comments that go something like this: if this is what you're worried about, I feel bad for you. Whatever that means. Apparently, as a K-pop stan, I cannot be worried about K-pop because other things are going on in the world. Like I said earlier about the diss track, there's so much wrong with the K-pop community and the industry. It's not a perfect world with a lot of handsome boy groups and teenage girls that love them. So some people think that either K-pop stans don't care and are blind to these issues, or that those issues are not big enough to be worried about it. Which is it? I will say it again, I am totally fine with people criticizing things I like, whether it's K-pop, movies, art, whatever. But you don't have to stoop down to the level of attacking someone. I think there's also just this whole thing that people like to attack anything that teens, especially teenage girls, enjoy. K-pop being one of them, One Direction, YouTubers, whatever. There's always gonna be that group of people that is gonna mock it just because a teenage girl likes it. I think this is a really hard topic to cover completely, especially since I just have my own opinion to base it off of. I think Twitter can be a horrible place filled with very toxic people, but I think it's also a place filled with amazing people that I can connect with over mutual love topics. I think what I've noticed is that a lot of toxic people like to surround themselves with other toxic people. Like I said earlier, some people that have mocked me and my content also surround themselves with other people that like to mock me or join in on mocking me without even knowing me. When I look at people like that and at their feeds, it's usually them bringing someone down, being mostly negative interactions. And I think it just gives some people that enjoyment for whatever reason. So I don't understand that, but I guess that's why they do it. So you just have to learn how to navigate Twitter, surround yourself with good people, and then also just use the report and block button from time to time. Twitter can be a fun experience as a K-pop fan. But that is going to be it for this video. I've taken days to try to condense my thoughts into words, so I hope that I did a decent job. But please, let's keep talking about this down below. And when I hear your opinions on what I've said, what are your opinions on the topic as a whole? I just really want to hear your guys' thoughts, since it's a really big topic that is just really opinionated. Thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble. I hope I wasn't incredibly boring. But that's going to be it for now, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.